Okay, what I'd like to do is introduce a series of web-based seminars where we're going to be talking about something called poverty of aspiration. Now, why am I talking about this particular subject, you might be asking? What I'd like to tell you is last year about this time, I was in Uganda. And when I was in Uganda, I was teaching there in high schools. And what I found was a very different attitude in the children that I was teaching there, the young people I was working with there, compared to young people here in the UK and in a lot of the industrialized countries, what we would call the OECD countries that I often visit. What I found in particular with these young people was that they were highly aspirational. And they were some of the easiest children I've ever taught. They were highly motivated. Every word that I said, they would be focused on, extremely conscientious, extremely hardworking. Now that might not seem surprising to you, but what was really surprising is that a lot of the children that I was working with in Uganda, where they were orphans, they were living in what we call absolute poverty. They came in the morning without breakfast. They couldn't even afford lunch, even though in Uganda that was equivalent to about 20 pence. And then when later on you find out the family income is 70 pence a day, then you can understand why. Now, can you imagine a child for 10 hours is prepared to learn in such harsh and difficult circumstances? We're not talking about modern classrooms. We're talking about very, underdeveloped schools, very underdeveloped classrooms, often out, in villages as well, yet highly motivated. And then when I compare to young people here who have every opportunity you could say, with regards to education, educational learning infrastructure, schools, colleges, universities, and the like, and every educational learning opportunity perhaps that they want. Why is it that they are not aspirational? What I noticed with the kids in Uganda, that they lived in absolute poverty, but were highly aspirational. But our young people here seem to have everything, but don't seem to have aspiration and ambition and a desire. But what I really learned from my kids in Uganda more than anything else was this idea that they really understood a very simple universal law, and that's the law of cause and effect. They recognized that education is something as a tool, as a medium, as something of value which can directly improve and enhance their life. They recognize knowledge is power. They recognize that education was a passport for success in their life. They recognize that because they live a subsistence lifestyle, they recognize education is core to my survival. They understood the law of cause and effect, that they had to be ultimately responsible for rectifying their situation, for changing their life, because it's a life and death issue for them. Now, what seems to have happened in industrialized societies like ourselves, where we are urban dwellers living in cities, is that we've become passive and dependent. And as a result, we make every excuse under the sun, and we don't take personal responsibility. We don't seem to understand this basic rule of cause and effect, that what I put in is what I get out. If I get negative effects in my life, if I don't seem to achieve what I want in my future, it's only because of what I've actually contributed myself in terms of the cause. What have I done to cause my situation to be positive and successful in the future? Negative experiences in the future means negative input that you're putting into your own life as well. So really the critical issue is that it seems that we need to realign ourselves with that same aspirational ambition that those children in underdeveloped countries like Uganda have, highly aspirational because they understand a very simple thing of cause and effect. And they recognize that they have to have a high expectation. And so as a result of that, they put massive amounts of effort into things that they realize will create a positive benefit and change in their lives. Unfortunately, a different conditioning exists here for us. We don't put the effort in. We seem to think that there's often a safety net for us, or if we don't succeed, there are many ways that society can comfort us as well. We have the support of a welfare system, perhaps you could say. We have the support of our families. And as a result of that, we've become what I call passive, in terms of really making effort to really change and transform our lives, and we become dependent upon all the apparatus around ourselves, rather than these kids who were independent. They recognize, I can't blame anyone else, I've got to take personal responsibility, I have to be proactive, and I have to grasp every opportunity 100%, completely, with full focus and commitment. And secondly, they were independent, and they were actively involved in trying to bring about a change in their lives. They were proactive as well. So how do we go about changing it? So this series of seminars is really focused on in this basic concept. How can we get that same aspiration that we find other people who understand this very simple rule of cause and effect have, but on top of that, these individuals, these young people who see their very core survival related to being aspirational in educational terms. And I also want to explore what are the barriers, what are the things which actually hold us back from achieving the things that we want to do. What are the excuses that we make? What are the beliefs that we hold which often limit us as well? And how can we really overcome this? How can we reprogram ourselves with that different frame of mind, with that different kind of worldview? So I hope you join us for our web seminars. We will obviously be indicating to you, we're letting you know when they're taking place, and we look forward to your contribution and your involvement with us.